welcome everybody. We're excited to be here. We're having a great Friday so far. And for those watching live, happy Good Friday. It is actually Good Friday. And for those watching or listening later on the Good Gut Live podcast, welcome and thank you for listening. For those that don't know, my name is James Marin. I'm an integrative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist, co-founder of Married to Health.
I'm Dahlia Marin. I'm an integrative dietitian, certified gastrointestinal nutritionist, and also one of the co-founders of Married to Health. It's been a while for me since I've been on one of these lives, I feel.
Really? Maybe. Yeah. We have a lot going on.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a whirlwind. Life is a whirlwind lately, but it's a great whirlwind and it's a blessing. And yeah, maybe. I know I've been doing some solo episodes. We had episodes with our other dietitians, if you don't know. We had some guests on. I don't know, maybe it has been a little bit of a time lapse for you, or you haven't been here.
Yeah.
You're so busy. You're so in demand with just our personal life, our professional life. We have a great episode, a show for you today. We're getting into, I guess I should say our top 5 gut myths, but really, I mean, just from speaking to thousands of patients, social media, just things we see, things we hear, so much that's out there. These are definitely, I would say, top 5 gut health myths, right? So we're going to go through them. We'll even pop some things on the screen. So if you do want to go to our YouTube and watch this, go for it, Married to Health, or in the links down below. If you're listening, that's going to be great too. We're going to describe this and get into it. And I want to get right into it. But these are our top 5 gut health myths. And the first one being plants are not needed for a healthy gut. And that's putting it in a nice way compared to what others say online or what comments? You hear. Our YouTube, we get a lot of YouTube
savage YouTube comments. People are like, read a book. You learned that in 6th grade that you don't need plants.
You saw that
one?
Huh? I wasn't sure if you saw that.
Just,
there's some rude. Like, you wouldn't talk to us that way in person. Like, why are you so mean online? What is the deal with that? Like,
keyboard warriors.
Keyboard bullies.
These trolls.
It's like I wouldn't talk to you like that in person. Like, there's been we've had some in-person bullies and online bullies, but it's like, wow, it's been okay, everyone take a deep breath, just chill. And for those that aren't bullies, when you come across a bully, just we always try to love them. I know it's so hard, it's so counterintuitive, but we do try to just love on them, and even online, like, we're never, and trust us, like, there's times where you just want to be like, you read a book, or like, what do you know? Like, you can definitely fall into that trap of wanting to fight fire with fire, but that's not our mindset. That's not who we try to be. But anyway, yeah, we get some interesting comments. So show us some love if you can. Follow us. Give us some positive comments on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this, watching this, listening. Because yeah, we're not trying to like be inflammatory. You guys know us. We like to keep it cool in the middle. We're just, at the end of the day, trying to help patients, trying to help our patients, trying to really give context to a lot of what's out there. And it's sometimes not fun. It's not, I don't know, sexy. It's not like, what's out there, but we try to do it anyway because it is what has helped us. It is what helps our patients. It's what we see truly, truly making a difference, right? Not these like extremes of what people comment, which is like, you have to eat meat, or there's a guy who's getting like hamburger patties from Carl's Jr. and going like, I'm getting all this protein for $3.75. And that, like, you see all these people online, it's like, it's not just about getting protein, it's about quality, it's about your microbiome. I mean, there's so much content there where these like health experts, I'm doing air quotes for those listening, online, telling you, yeah, just eat meat patties and just, go to fast food places without the bun. As long as it doesn't have the bun and the sauce, you're healthy. It's like, there's so much more to your health than that, right? And so many layers. So anyway, again, we're not here to just we're not like team plants. I mean, I guess we are, but we're not like dogmatic. We're more of just like, here's the science, here's the evidence, here's what's working. And so this myth, I would say, it is a myth. Plants are not needed for a healthy gut it's the complete opposite. Plants are needed for a healthy gut, right? And we're seeing your chat, we're seeing your messages. Hello, Kick. We see that. And so we would say plants are needed, and we make the case, and there's a lot of evidence which will even pop up on the screen here. I'm going to make sure it's going to look nice here. Okay. Let me see. And so, um, when we look at this, and it always covers Dahlia's face. Let me try to move it.
It's okay.
There we go. How's that?
There
That's
we go.
better. Okay. So there's lots of, I mean, this is just some. We never try to make these episodes. We try to keep these episodes fun and like, I guess that it's pretty dense topics, but we try not to make these presentations. If you want to see presentations, a lot of what we share here are presentations and lectures we give. I know we're doing shout out. We're going to be doing a talk for the Plant-Based Nutrition and Healthcare Conference, which is one of the largest plant-based conferences in the world. We did a talk recently on Real Truth About Health, where we get into like just really long lectures. We've done talks privately with like supplement companies and even like Pancreatic Cancer Association, and we do like really in-depth lectures. We do a lot of them private. If you want us to come speak, hit up mary'shealth.com and contact us. We can do that. The podcast, we try to make this for everybody, whether it's your grandma listening with you or your 13-year-old. I mean, we try to help this be something you understand and can take home and can use, so that it's helpful and beneficial. So here's just a slide of just studies, right? This was part of a presentation we did, but we're not going to sit here and go back and forth with all the studies. They're there. If you want to screenshot this, pause this. For those listening, I'm putting up at least 5 studies here that are just showing. I mean, and there's so many angles to this. Whether you're looking at like the genomics of the gut, whether you're looking at certain areas geographically of populations and what they eat. So it's like epidemiology, whether you're looking at like meta-analysis, whether, I mean, so a nerd way and to say this is all of that, but a more just basic way to say this is from every angle and almost every type of study. And this isn't cherry picked. These are just, we try to look for just really great, well-designed studies. Plants are key to your gut health, right? We see that in populations. We see that just across the board in very controlled studies, like plants are needed. And one thing we're seeing in the US, we live in the United States, is that many people are just not eating enough plants. And we see that in their fiber intake. Overall, all fiber comes from plants. And so if you're not eating enough fiber, you're not eating enough plants. And we see that. So plants are key for proper gut health. And I think here, so this just summarizes it a bit, where we're going, what do these plants even do? Like a higher fiber diet and things you're going to get in plants, it increases your microbiome function, it increases your enzyme function, it increases these beautiful gifts that these microbes give you. It's going to, it literally helps your body across the board. There's almost like we could be here for hours and hours just listing all the things that this does. I mean, this image here is showing high fiber diet, what it increases, and also high fermented food diet, which can be difficult for some of you. We're going to get into that. So stay tuned, keep listening. We're going to get into more myths because we understand there are some of you who eat high fiber, eat these highly fermentable foods, and struggle because it does increase microbiome diversity. You are increasing the enzymatic activity, microbes. All that to say, a lot is going to go on in your gut when you eat more plants. And if your gut isn't ready, you might not feel too great, right? So we're going to get into that. And that kind of does lead us into our next one, but I don't know if you want to comment.
I think honestly, just one thing people kind of convolute and confuse is just because you may have symptoms when you eat plants, it doesn't mean you don't need them still. It means you need to overcome the reason that you have symptoms, whether that's gut imbalance, motility issues, gut barrier issues, inflammation, autoimmune.
Mm-hmm.
I think people really confuse nowadays their anecdotal experience with what the data shows of
Mm-hmm.
you may feel better off of plants because maybe you have one of those things going on that I mentioned, the dysbiosis, the motility issues, the barrier issues. You may feel better off of plants, that does not mean one, that you are healed in any way, shape, or form, or two, plants are just ubiquitously not good for other people. So, again, I think people are very bold online, very bold. But it's so important before you run to your keyboard and say these things, really read the data or at least be open to hearing it. I think it's one thing to ask a question. I love when people ask that. If I see them in an Instagram post and somebody's like, "Hey, can you send me the study you're referring to or show me the
Yeah.
data?" Love that. That person's curious versus someone who's like, "No, you're wrong. And also you're ugly." So it's like, are you curious because you actually want to heal or do you want to feel right and be righteous and just be mean also?
Yes. Yes. And this is where we get a lot of comments like that too, as well as this myth. Plants have toxins. So this is myth number 2. Plants have toxins that destroy the gut. Billy you want to show them this question?
Mhm.
Plants have toxins that destroy the gut. So here it is. Is that true? I mean, what do you guys think? Is this truth? And so what we'd say to this is, I mean, yeah, it's not, there's Dahlia's face. It's not entirely wrong. So we want to get into that a little bit, right? Like plants, technically, I guess you can call them toxins. We call them anti-nutrients. We've done full episodes on this. If you want to go back and listen to some of those as you look. But yes, they do. I guess we could say yes, but it's yes, not exactly though. That's not the entire story to say they have toxins, right? And I think what's important to understand is things that enter your mouth are not, they don't stay the same, right? So when a toxin enters your mouth, for example, for those of you that don't know, Dahlia was our first patient. She struggled with SIBO and IBS and so many GI problems on a day-to-day basis, hunched over, causing so many other issues. We wish we had a protocol in place, a program in place that led her through step by step, inch by inch, and really guide by guide so she had everything at her fingertips. Now we have that. That is our Good Gut SIBO IBS program. You can do it 100% plant-based. You can customize it, but it is one of the only programs that is geared towards plants that can help you customize plants, that can help you tolerate more plants, and really gets to the root of your SIBO, of your IBS, of your ISO, SIFO, IMO, and any other type of overgrowth. You could technically eat snake venom, right? You could technically take snake venom and ingest it and you'd be fine. However, if it comes into contact with your blood, it's going to have a very different reaction. And that is because each chemical structure of what we call a toxin reacts differently based on the environment. And when you put it into an environment of microbes, for example, these anti-nutrients, so there's anti-nutrients, let me try to change this. There's anti-nutrients like there's anti-nutrients like oxalates and salicylates and
Phytates, lectins.
phytates, lectins. We hear all these things. However, based on studies and based on what we can do and based on the right context, right, of you're actually ingesting these things, they're going to interact with your microbes. You're likely going to soak some of these. Maybe you're eating some of these sprouted. You're likely cooking a lot of these things. A lot of these things somehow the creator of these things knew, oh, I'm going to pair them properly. And oh, like papaya already has the enzyme that helps you break down not just the papaya, but also it helps you break down other parts of the food. So no one's eating just a can of oxalates, right? We're eating oxalates in a synergistic effect, not only with the food itself, other foods, and our cooking methods and our bodies. So here you're seeing oxalate getting broke down for those biochem nerds. We should just do a whole episode on biochemistry. I think that would be really fun. That would be probably our most popular episode, I think.
Your dad jokes are not
Um,
welcome here.
and so, but this is what we study. I remember that was Dahlia's favorite class was biochemistry and advanced nutrient metabolism, right? Like that was her favorite class. And so I remember doing the whiteboards. Remember we do the whiteboards of all the nutrient
Yeah.
metabolism. Literally our professor would test us on like how B vitamins are metabolized, and we had to know how B vitamins are metabolized
And
and
that
which
means you have to understand how it gets broken down, what it gets broken down into, any cofactors it needs, how you absorb it, where you absorb it, what it turns into once it's absorbed.
that was funny. Yeah, good times, but not really. And so understanding this, an oxalate coming in, and especially with the food, is not going to stay the same. And so that's
Mhm.
exactly what happens in our gut. And that's exactly why it's so important to have a healthy, robust gut microbiome, right? Because things are not going to stay the same. And in reality, this myth of plants have toxins is these toxins get transformed and are actually super beneficial for your body. These toxins, air quotes, are like or was it prebiotics, I guess you could say. They're
Mhm.
actually beneficial because they're going to be used by your microbes to then make postbiotics. And that's exactly what we find. They become antioxidants, right? And we have pictures here for those that are watching, but for those not, of showing soaking and cooking and high enzymatic rich foods, as well as fermenting. This is where fermented foods are so popular, rightly so, because they already get this process started ahead of
There's
time.
microbial breakdown there. And again, keep in mind, you are you are also capable of this microbial breakdown because you're
Right.
full of microbes. And just as an organism yourself, you're starting to break things down. The stomach acid that we have, the saliva that we have, the bile acid that we have. So again, we have the affinity. We're not negating the fact that sometimes some of those things could be hindered or off, right? Somebody could have low stomach acid, an autoimmune disease that causes low saliva production. Somebody could have altered bile acid production. So we're not negating those things,
Mhm.
but there are always ways where we could help better digest those plants. So there are always mechanisms in place where, again, like James mentioned, you could soak things, freeze things, pressure cook things, blend things, and a lot of those things get denatured or broken down to a strong degree. So whether they are a carbohydrate themselves, a carbohydrate binding protein, proteins get denatured, and we just need to ensure we have the affinity to do so.
Okay. Myth number 3. Myth number 3. IBS and overall GI issues are caused by plants. So is that true? No way. So obviously it's not true. They're not caused by plants. So IBS and overall GI issues are not caused by plants, right? So this is not true. And more specifically, it is there are many other factors of why they're caused. So it's important to know that there are many reasons why you have IBS or IBD or all these problems, and they're not plants, right? Per se, but there's
Per se.
context.
But it is true that in many situations, the plants can be the factor that lets you know there's a problem, right? You might find I'm fine until I eat broccoli, or I'm fine until I eat onions and garlic. So the plants can certainly illuminate some of those problems that you have and help actually
Mhm,
identify some of those problems that you have. Hopefully, that they give some clues to you and your team, but they're not the reason that you have those things. Again, we were saying, I said kind of the overall umbrella of why some of those things are going on, but these are smaller reasons why you might have that dysbiosis. Things like antibiotic use, probiotic use, the foods that you're eating, the amount of inflammation that those foods will carry,
mhm,
low prebiotic fiber intake, all of those go under that bucket, that category of dysbiosis and what could cause dysbiosis.
mhm,
You could have motility issues, and that could be from anything from an injury or neurodegenerative disease. It could be from use of things like proton pump inhibitors, because that's going to affect motility and acidity. It could be things like your blood sugar that could affect motility. It could be other things that are affecting your gut barrier, like gut inflammation, increased production in your gut or around your gut of other inflammatory chemicals like TMAO and LPS, lipopolysaccharide. So, just so many of these other factors underneath. But certainly, if you have a lot of these going on, when you eat plants, you might not feel great because they're more complex to
mhm.
digest. And not to say protein isn't, right? Because I do have a lot of my SIBO patients who are like, it doesn't matter what I eat. I could eat an egg, I could eat a an almond. I'm gonna feel unwell regardless. Or I can eat a fruit, or I could eat a vegetable, I could eat plant protein, I could eat animal protein. It doesn't matter. I'm unwell when I'm eating. So something is not well.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I want to go. I think for time's sake, we'll go to myth number 4. But to clarify that, I mean, it's again, it's not plants. Yes, plants can exacerbate in some ways, but it's again, what are they exacerbating, right? They're already building on something that's already somewhat broken, right? So it's like trying to collect water, but the mechanism you're using, your cup has holes in it, right? And you're going like, oh, this water's broken. Well, no, it's your cup has holes and the water's leaking out, or you're continuing to spill the water. So you're not as efficient as you can be. And that's kind of where plants are kind of the scapegoat, where it's like, well, I ate broccoli and I felt horrible. As opposed to blaming the plants, you should say, well, why am I feeling horrible? What in my body or what has happened to my body that is now allowing me to feel horrible? So myth number 4, and this segues nicely, I feel worse after eating plants. So when you eat plants, you feel worse. Like I just said, you ate the broccoli, you ate the Brussels sprouts, you ate I mean, fill in the blank, beans, and what do you hear most even from patients? I mean, legumes are always
Cruciferous vegetables
cruciferous, like I said,
and
Brussels
allium
sprouts,
vegetables.
yeah, onion, garlic. Well, now you have fatty foods, which isn't. I mean, like, again, it's not bad. Like, you have like fatty foods, which is a brand that takes out the allium vegetables, right? So it
Mhm.
takes out the garlic and the onion and these things because it makes people feel so
Describers.
bloated. But is it, like we're saying, is it the plant? Or should the question you should be asking is, why am I feeling bloated? Like what has led me to this point where foods that humans have been eating for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years, is now hurting my stomach, right? And there's many, many reasons for that. And that's the context we want to give. The the wrong kind of context, and we can say that it's very wrong to just say blame the onion, blame the legume, blame the grains. It has, and then we look at these foods like, oh my gosh, it has lectins and it has these oxalates, and yes, that's what it is. It's like, no, it should be going, what's happened to us as humans can be explained. What's happening to us can be explained. And really, a good picture of this is thinking of our gut like a factory line. And so your GI tract is very much like a factory, and things need to work because all systems from the beginning to the end rely on one another. And if someone is missing, something is fractured, this factory line can be messed up, right? This factory line will be messed up. And so very commonly, the way we see this factory line getting messed up is with this leakiness, right? Really what's happening is this leakiness. It's not the plant. This is why, if you are eating plants and you feel a little bit worse, you have to understand, what is my gut looking like? What has happened to my gut? And a lot of times there's leakiness, and that's gut hyperpermeability, right? It is this degradation. And typically it's because most people haven't been eating enough plants, because we've grown up as children being picky eaters on antibiotics. The list goes on and on of all the reasons why. It's led us to have guts that are highly sensitive. It's led us to have this kind of abundance of issues going on, where it has this just compound ripple effect, just coming outward from the gut of all of these issues, and it just manifests differently for everybody, right? So everyone's gut and everyone and the way it reacts will just look different. That's where you have a friend who can eat and drink whatever they want and they're fine, where you eat a blueberry wrong and you're in the restroom, right? Everyone's
Mm.
a little bit different in that. And everyone, again, it'll manifest differently for everyone based on what they have going on. So it's very important to understand that. It's very important to have the context of, yes, you maybe will eat some plant foods and not feel great, but you need to understand why. You need to take time and effort and research, or find people that do this. Hopefully, hello, hi, Good Gut Live and Married to Health are here to help you understand this and not just continue to demonize food. We're really just sick of it, to be honest. Like, we're really just sick of just the whole demonization of food, and thinking, yeah, it's the broccoli. It's not, right? And so that's why it's important to understand, okay, well, what is going on? What is the context, right? um okay, so is that, yes, we're on our fifth one. Being integrative gut health registered dietitians for over a decade, we really wanted something. We wanted to formulate something that we didn't have when Dahlia was going through IBS and SIBO symptoms, gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, hunched over after every meal. That's why we formulated Gut Nurture. It was a mix of ingredients that we wish we had that we had to pull from all kinds of different supplements in order to make a supplement that actually worked, that helped with motility, that helped lay the foundation to build a healthy gut microbiome. It's safe for kids, it's safe for women, men. It's safe if you have IBS, if you're low FODMAP, low histamine, low sulfur, the list goes on and on. We really made it a ubiquitous, amazing supplement to help your gut thrive, and it is something we wish we had over a decade ago that you have now. Try Gut Nurture, let us know what you think, and be one of the thousands and thousands using Gut Nurture to stay healthy daily. So, when it comes to the fifth and final, because there's many more. If you guys, this was a longer talk. We'll be
It was a
releasing the
2-hour talk.
full. This was a 2 hour talk. Okay, we try. This is a very big and complicated subject that we try to just put out in bits and doses. So if you're new, go and make sure you're subscribed to the Good Gut Life podcast, and please, we have patients who binge watch our episodes and find us through there. So that's great. Please do, because this is big. This is a big topic, and it likely affects you or someone you know. So the fifth and final for this episode, this myth, I guess you can say, and we see this a lot. We hear this a lot with friends and family. We again see this a lot in friends and family. It is the idea that you don't need to be concerned about small GI symptoms. You know, what's the big deal? Yeah, I've been constipated. Yeah, I got a little bloating when I eat XYZ food. You know, I'm lactose intolerant. I'm just going to take my lactate and still eat my dairy and cheese. And, we see this all the time, right? Or even you already have a chronic disease going on. You have type 2 diabetes, you have heart disease, and you're getting some. Now it's also add to that some GI issues, reflux, get acid reflux. I'm grinding my teeth, sleep apnea. You're building on all these symptoms. Don't worry about it. It's just tiny. I'm just gonna take fill in the blank. Proton pump
Imodium.
inhibitors, Imodium, like right, and it's okay. I'll live like this for 20 years, and then I'll take care of it down
Yeah.
the road. Wow, that's a big myth, right? As you're procrastinating, as you're kicking the can down the road, things are not getting better. They're likely getting worse, and they're
Mhm.
going to become harder and harder to deal with down the road.
Or if your care team is like, yeah, you meet the criteria for IBS, right? Maybe you have discomfort more than 1 day a week on average for the last 3 months. You have discomfort or change significantly in defecation or urination or, stool form frequency, bowel
Mhm.
habits, and you just have IBS. It's okay. It's not okay. You do want to know what's going on underneath that. You do want to know what you could be doing instead of just being like, well, I'm just going to stress every time I leave the house. I'm not near a restroom. Every time I go out to dinner, I'll just take Imodium. I'll just take Tums all the time because those aren't always long-term solutions. They're not long-term solutions at all, but
Mhm.
they're not always long-term help either. I have had patients who get self-induced pancreatitis, so
Mm.
inflammation of their pancreas from using Tums too much. We do know that long-term use of PPI, and that's considered anything longer than 3 months. Studies only recommend using a PPI, and the PPI insert itself only recommends using it for 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
People are on them for 3 decades because eventually that leads to increased risk of stomach polyps. It leads to increased risk of low calcium, bone fractures, osteopenia, and osteoporosis. So if that's your plan of like, I'll just pop Tums, I'll just take Imodium, I'll just take PPIs, none of these things come without side effects, and none of them are actually healing you or actually alleviating the issue. It's just kind of temporary symptom relief. And I get it where we live in an instant gratification society. So that's what most people are looking for. Like, okay, I don't care what's going on, but for this dinner, I just don't want to poop my pants. I get it. You need that too. So it's
Right.
like, do what you need to do until you find more help and you find deeper answers. Because it's very seldom that unless you make changes or investigate further or get help for it, that it's just going to go away.
Mhm.
Usually it kind of just compounds and gets worse over the years. And we don't want that to be.
Right. And so, yeah, so I think again, there's many more myths. These are some of our top five. There's a lot here and a lot to understand. And I get it. This isn't fun. It's not fun to think about things that maybe worry you and cause you anxiety. But really, anxiety comes from you knowing you should be doing something and just not doing it. It's not coming from the thing itself. It's just the anxiety comes from you going like, yeah, I should take care of this. I'm not going to do it. And so it lives in your mind. And it's not paying you rent. It's actually doing the opposite. You're paying it rent, right? So these things that live in your mind of going like, I really should take care of my gut health, or I really, yeah, my something's wrong with my bowel movements. It's not right. Something's wrong, maybe with a loved one I know that something isn't right. And again, it lives in your mind, whether you realize it or not. We put it away. We stuff it way back there so we can continue with our day, and we maybe have other bigger concerns, which we totally understand. And so it may seem like a solution to take medication and medication and medication, or supplement and supplement and supplement. Again, we're not against medications, we're not against supplements, but when you're using those to just continue to push things back
Maintain.
and maintain, that's when that's where all that anxiety is coming from. That's where all of that suffering, that unnecessary suffering is coming from. And so that's part of that myth of like, yeah, don't worry about it. Or even if a health professional tells you that, yeah, it's not an issue yet. It's pre-diabetes. It's IBS. Just live with it. Yeah, it's not a big deal yet. It's like, well, you want to take care of it when it is a big deal, or do you want to take care of it now? And so that is the truth, right? It's like, take care of it now before it's a big deal. Take care of it now before other things compound. Or if it's already here, take care of it so you're not going to just continue to add, because one chronic disease is never just one chronic disease. It's multiple issues happening. You maybe either don't realize it or it hasn't fully manifested quite yet. So but there's still multiple things going on at once. We're seeing some questions pop in. Cool. Can mental health affect your gut? Yes.
I love someone responded, the gut affects mental health.
Ooh, yeah. I
Yes.
love that interaction. Yeah. Yeah.
And what people don't realize, yes, there's certainly a strong correlation between the two. We have, and that is why IBS has been recategorized as a disorder of gut brain connection. It's a DGBI, where, yes, there's certainly a disordered or diseased way that the gut and brain are communicating to one another. And we send more signals up from gut to brain than brain to gut. We send 80% of signals from the gut to the brain, 20% of signals are back from the brain to the gut. And we produce a large percentage of our neurotransmitters in the gut, which is why they're the source that's going up to the brain. So things like
Mhm.
your dopamine that helps you feel happy, serotonin and GABA that chill you out, or, we even make epinephrine or norepinephrine there in our gut. And so you need these neurotransmitters to have mental health and balanced mental health, hopefully. But absolutely, when your gut is off, your mental health can be off for certain. And there were studies on that with COVID. We were finding part of the COVID sequelae of symptoms was anxiety and depression people are experiencing. And I think that was for a multitude of reasons, one of which could be a histamine response that was happening and histamines that were being
Mhm.
released, but also that just shift in the bugs where there were a lot more inflammatory bugs sending those inflammatory anxiety smoke signals up to the brain versus our anti-inflammatory bugs that are like, everything's fine. Here's some dopamine, feel happy. Here's some serotonin, just chill out and it'll pass. So it's strong, strong, strong connection between the gut and the brain.
Yes, great question. But yeah, so there's so much here. I highly recommend if you're
And that's
or
not to say, right? Because I wanted to
okay,
expand on that because that's a
okay.
myth, even though it's not included in our top five.
A bonus
A
myth?
bonus myth is it's all in your head, right? Your
Ooh,
GI symptoms are all in your head. And you don't
yeah.
actually have anything going on because we can't see that it's going on, right? You might have
Mm,
gotten blood work done, you might have gotten scoped, endoscopy, colonoscopy. They can't
mhm,
see anything structurally is wrong with you. So they say IBS. Also, you need to work on your stress levels. If you have IBS, one, you are more prone to anxiety and depression for the reasons I just mentioned because your neurotransmitter production is off. And two, it's a vicious cycle where
mhm,
it's going to make you anxious and depressed when you're missing out on life and dinners and parties and work because your stomach hurts or
yeah.
you can't stop having bowel movements. Um, I have right now, I'm working with a 13-year-old little boy who just literally overnight started having 12 bowel movements, 12 plus bowel movements a day, had to be pulled out of school. And now he's so stressed that he's missed so much school for months. He's stressed about going back to school because he doesn't want to have to tell kids why he's missed 4 months of school. So that is very real for so many people, but absolutely they affect one another for certain and then becomes that vicious cycle.
Man, totally. So 5 plus bonus 6. And yeah, I mean, these are important to discuss. These are important to talk about. Hopefully you guys learn something from this, take something away from this. These are just 5 that came up and now bonus 6, but it comes from real concerns. It comes from real life. It comes from real patients. It comes from real situations of pain and suffering. And whether you're a kid or an adult or you have kids, it's wanting to prevent this pain and suffering. It's wanting to heal this pain and suffering. And that's where everything we do in our practice, everything we do online is coming from that place. As people who have been through pain and suffering in their own life from chronic disease, from mental health, probably facilitated from poor gut health at an early age, and the list goes on and on. It comes from a place of wanting to change the world, wanting to change the way we care for patients, wanting to change the way kids grow up and parents raise their kids and what we eat and what's available. It's all connected, right? So if you want to learn more, go to marriedhealth.com. Make sure you follow Good Gut Live and watch our past episodes as we recently did a deep dive into oxalates, into why greens maybe bloat you, into why plants are key and needed for SIBO, IBS, and so many other issues. I think a future episode we need to do is expand on more of the common symptoms that you may not realize are connected to the gut. We need to do maybe a whole episode on that. But let us know if there's episodes or topics you want to learn more about.
Like gut skin, gut vaginal microbiome, gut oral microbiome. We need to dive in there.
A lot there.
A lot there.
But thank you guys. We are live every Friday for Good Gut Live, and we are so thankful to our patients, to our other dietitians, to our team that helps facilitate this, and all of you. You're watching on so many different platforms. So if you're, depending where you're watching or listening, we thank you. And as always, we want you to feel with each meal.
Heal with each meal.
Heal with each meal. All right, everybody. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend. And for those watching live, happy Easter, happy Good Friday, and we'll see you all very soon.
And thanks for being part of our Good Gut gang. We appreciate you.
Bye everybody.